Hi, it's Miles Red Songbird in New York City. Looking at a picture of Singbird's son, King of America, when he was Jimi Hendrix here. And his diet is he's a vegetarian. He's been a vegetarian all his life. And this is the occasion of Friday vegetarian group put on by Jesus Christ disciple St. Andrew Jonathan here at St. Francis of Assisi Residence 3, Chelsea, Manhattan. This is Jesus Christ disciple St. Philip, now called Bill Leader, eating at the Vegetarian Friday. And this is Carlos Castaneda, called Michael Raker, eating vegetables and dip and popcorn and stuff. Excuse me, this is my lunch the other day. So Amy's bean burrito with hot sauce, romaine lettuce and grape tomatoes and orange juice. And that was heavenly. Okay, so I want to take apart Owen Benjamin. So let's decode this. Let's see. Taking Owen Benjamin apart. A partner. Present art, true Tennessee energy into her from long ago and far away. I was raised in Tennessee. I guess that's what they're talking about here. Benjamin was my partner in that I was his wife when he was Lieutenant General President Ulysses S. Grant. So I was his partner, and that was long ago and far away. So that's what they're talking about there. Hashtag 550, the case of the murdered duck, Owen Benjamin channel. This is the video he made that I want to comment on. He's criticizing baby boomers because they're collecting Social Security, which we've worked and paid taxes for. Benjamin wants Ulysses S. Grant, the Republican president who signed into law the turning our United States for America into a corporation, the United States of America. Grant, Ulysses S. Grant, now Owen Benjamin, part Jewish, is responsible for the world, America, being a business instead of the constitutional republic with a Bill of Rights that it was before President Grant, against his wife's advice. How do I know? I was his wife. She advised him not to become a traitor and sell out our Constitution. The cartoon that he watched 10 times and laughed at, I didn't think at all funny. The cartoon Owen Benjamin showed in this video calling niggers raccoons, they're cockroach conscious, true Jews. The Jew that is Benjamin and the others he calls tiny hats are fake Jews. They've sneaked and cheated and taken over much of the world. Israel, Hollywood, academia, mainstream media, music industry, responsible for gay marriage, etc. Read the book for further specifics called The Jewish Revolutionary Spirit by Dr. E. Michael Jones. He gives details of what's been going on with the Jews. Benjamin is unconsciously guilt-ridden because he wrecked America the Miracle, heaven on earth, committing treason, signing into the law of signing into law the Act of 1871. Benjamin is smearing the men who have made our world better than it was before they made their contributions. He's smearing Dr. Albert Einstein, Dr. Sigmund Freud, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., Will Smith for president, genius composer Ludwig van Beethoven. We know these men were imperfect, but that doesn't make their contributions to the world any less great. None of them did as bad things as Benjamin did, destroying the American people's ability to pursue life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Benjamin focuses on the negative about the great men. Example, he was criticizing the Star-Spangled Banner as played by Jimi Hendrix at Woodstock. This Jimi, as he was then, and this is Jimi as he is now. Sing birdsong. I gotta sneeze in a minute, so look out. So he was criticizing the Star-Spangled Banner as played by Jimi Hendrix at Woodstock. Jimi Hendrix at heart was a jazz musician. Obviously, Benjamin, once Tchaikovsky, a Romantic era composer, doesn't understand the challenging alpha male music, jazz. It's all about improvisation. You play anything, any sound you want within a certain amount of bars. Then you have to return to the home melody. They sweat to compose on the spot. Soloing, riffing is called. Then they get back on time, gotta get back on time to the original melody. Jimi Hendrix, Thelonious Monk, Miles Davis, etc. These geniuses were beyond simple la 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 romantic melodies. They're good too, but musicians, composers more advanced should also be praised. Jazz shows your balls, that you have balls to go out on a limb and sound and get back to the familiar without missing a beat. The truth is, Owen Benjamin, owing U.S. Benjamin Franklin $100 bills for signing away our rights as a Constitutional Republic and making us into a corporation, a business. He's too dumb and unsophisticated to understand when we watched Jimi Hendrix now sing birdsong. Jimi, the greatest instrumentalist in the history of rock music, create on the spot. It was distortion for the sake of distortion. It wasn't distortion for the sake of distortion. It's called improvising. Benjamin, arrogant Benjamin, Owen Benjamin, doesn't understand jazz, and he doesn't understand rock music either. Else he would have been in awe watching Jimi create on the spot like a god. Jimi wasn't performing at a sports event where the Star-Spangled Banner is performed without individuality, but just as Francis Scott Key wrote it note for note without creative input to make it palatable to a group of young people experimenting with hair, clothes, relationships, spirituality, etc., as youth like to do. That clue was given to me by Jesus Christ, Gorinda Singh Ji, who married me, Mary Magdalene, and impregnated me with mutual heartfelt desires and manifested by Isaac. Now before I go on, let me say that the Francis Scott Key, who wrote the Star-Spangled Banner, was also Chopin, and he was also Milo Yiannopoulos. I say, okay. So, like I said, Jesus Christ impregnated me with Isaac's eye contact. How's that for not playing marriage and baby making narrative word for word from the past? Jimi Hendrix is a patriot. His genius was to present patriotism into the festival at Woodstock in a cool, hip way for his cool, hip audience. Audience decoded. A, angel. U, daughter of the sun. Clit, pen, sex, eye pleasure. Entered. Energy entered. North Carolina energy. Okay, that's what I just said, right? That Gorinda Singh and Mary Magdalene had eye sex pleasure in North Carolina. That created a baby. It was so powerful, so true. Jimi Hendrix was a veteran of the armed services. He served his country. Did Owen Benjamin serve in the military? Of course not. It's so easy to criticize, and it's so easy to run your mouth without the facts. Jimmy not only served his country, he did a very dangerous job. He jumped out of airplanes. He was a paratrooper, a member of the Screaming Eagles, the 101st Airborne Division based at Fort Campbell, Kentucky. I know because that was 20 minutes from where I live, where I grew up in Clarksville, Tennessee. I say thank you, my son, Sing Birdsong, singer, songwriter, guitar player, who as a child practiced so many hours your fingertips begin to bleed, for who you are today, an intelligent soul who has traveled the world spreading joy with your music and luscious Jackson group. Thank you, Sing Birdsong, for being so smart that you don't put dead animal meat in your body. You've been a vegetarian all your life, this life. And thank you for practicing so long and diligently, teaching yourself to master the guitar when you were Jimi Hendrix. And now, you were so good, people didn't realize what an amazing feat to play guitar behind your back and to play the strings with your teeth. You deserved to be the star of Woodstock. Your hard work, sitting alone practicing in your room, paid off. Thinking people and other musicians, open-minded musicians, saw you and recognized your genius. Owen Benjamin calls himself a comedian. I find him not funny, mean-spirited, always negative about America's positive people, positive contributors. Benjamin is very proud. His name is Smith. His name is Owen Benjamin Smith. Is very proud that he's tall, 6'7". He arrogantly and cold-heartedly makes fun of short men. Well, let me say Owen Benjamin also let slip. Owen Benjamin let slip that he doesn't know how to please his wife, to make her have an orgasm. She's very short. I saw a photo of Benjamin standing, actually it was a video, I think, of Benjamin standing still next to her with his arm completely around her neck. He has a chokehold on his wife. He makes money talking on videos. Then he uses the money to support his wife and 2 children. She's happy despite having a bragging rights degree in engineering to prove anything a man can do, she can do, when the reality is she is happy as can be without being sexually fulfilled, taking care of children, growing food. They have a garden. The natural, perfect way for a man, a husband, to give his wife sexual pleasure is if she sits on the bed naked and bends her knees and props them up so her husband can reach in and tickle her clit with the tip of his pen or with his fingertip until she starts to come. He can quit, and she'll be happy, really happy, and he'll be worthy to be praised. He said, that's a song by the Southeastern University Choir. Benjamin said stuff in the media doesn't matter to him, that his children matter to him. What could be more important than giving his wife a basis for living. Sexual pleasure is a basis for living. Guys, for girls as well as men. Benjamin is so tall he'd have to scrunch over to reach his wife's clit. Truth is, he'd probably have to lay on his belly to reach in and tickle her clit, and his arm would ache. But he's so proud of building a fence on his property and doing chores, I'm sure he could endure being uncomfortable to give his wife a reason to live, besides being a workhorse the way she is now. Benjamin says he doesn't like tall women. He'd stand a better chance of achieving a position he could hold if a tall woman spread open her legs than short legs with a shorter span. Owen Benjamin is criticizing American gods. He criticized Bob Dylan. Jimi Hendrix was blown away when he first heard Dylan. Takes one genius to recognize another genius in this case. Owen Benjamin Smith criticizes Dylan. He says his singing voice, he says it's awful. I like authentic people who sing with authentic voices. That's why I like Bob Dylan's voice. Benjamin half-ass sings. There's no feeling, no effort to deliver. He just mumbles and stumbles through whatever song. Let's see what this says. Mumbles. Mary Magdalene. You. Michelle Birdsong. Oh, is that Michael Bublé? You, Michael Bublé, will. Energy source. Oh, yeah, that's right. Michelle Birdsong, Mary Magdalene, Eve is the energy for Michael Bublé's will. Michael Bublé was Adam, the original entity on Earth, and Mary Magdalene was Eve, the first woman on Earth. So their relationship goes back to the beginning. Okay. And though Govinda Singh, Jesus Christ, married Mary Magdalene, he wants Michael Bublé to marry her as well, so that when he's out singing to the world, he's not going to give them Isaacs, but he'll sing to them. When he's out singing to them, Mary Magdalene doesn't have to be alone. She'll have a husband with her at all times, because he promised her. No, that was Michael Bublé who promised you'd never have to be alone in his song Forever Now. But Michael Bublé is a projection of Govinda Singh, so they're on the same page. So, Owen Benjamin half-ass plays on piano. He thinks he's so great, he doesn't have to make much effort in what he does. The opposite of Jimmy, who practiced for hours and hours till he got good. That may come from having an adoring, worshiping mother as he has. Adoring, a doormat. Jimi Hendrix didn't live with a mother, so he didn't know how far to go. So he went overboard. He was an overgiver. He gave everything he could possibly give to his performances, to his audiences. You want excitement, kids? Okay, he said. So he bashed up his guitar after he'd done everything else with it. He also set it on fire. Oh, we taking drugs, kids? Okay, I'll take drugs with you. Okay, give me more, more. But in his short life, which killed him, by the way, but in his short life, what he did give in terms of patriotism and musicianship, I'd have to say he did great. His father has every right to be proud of his son, who played the hand he was dealt and played that guitar to beyond perfection. Jimi Hendrix belongs in heaven, as does Bob Dylan, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., Will Smith, Dr. Albert Einstein, Dr. Sigmund Freud, and all the other people, Benjamin Smears, the great people, Benjamin Smears. We took his Sigmund Freud's work a step further. Now we have a cure for madness called Talk and Share. And Ludwig van Beethoven belongs in heaven as well. I'm talking about myself as I host all these energies in my body except Dylan, Jimmy, and Will Smith. That's why Benjamin hates them, hates me. Owen Benjamin, hates me because I was his wife who begged him not to betray America, not to betray the American people, not to betray our U.S. Constitution, not to betray the United States presidency, not to betray the Republican Party. And I was right. His guilt has driven him mad. He has a couple 100,000 subscribers because he and his wife appear to be happy and living perfect lives as a farmer and his wife and kids. And they want to be happy too. The subscribers want to be happy too. That part is good. It's the continuing tearing down America that he started in 1871 that's not good. His thing with black people may be that he's mad. They were the cause of his treason, them and the Rothschilds. The Civil War had left the country near bankrupt. The moneylender Rothschilds would only loan the U.S. money if we had collateral. By making us a corporation, Owen Benjamin gave the citizens, when he was Ulysses S. Grant, gave the citizens the ability to work, to labor, their birth certificate as bond to the Rothschilds, which Benjamin has mentioned a couple of times. He doesn't mention the detail. He just says the Rothschilds hold our bond. If America defaults on her loan, Americans will have to work it off by working free for the Rothschilds and giving them everything they own. The Rothschilds get your original birth certificate. You get a copy. That's why people say the Jews own you, each American citizen, because of the signing into law the Act of 1871 by then President Ulysses S. Grant, now Owen Benjamin, once Aunt Jemima, the fat black cook with a kerchief on her head and a big happy smile. Owen Benjamin says he's a Christian, but one who doesn't know much about the Bible. Ulysses S. Grant thought he could escape the consequences of his actions by dying, but a guilty conscience is forever until you make wrongs right. He owes America. Owen Benjamin owes Ulysses S. Grant owes America a heartfelt apology. He has no money to pay back the debt he saddled us with, trillions of dollars, because the Rothschilds charges us exorbitant amounts of interest using the usury practice outlawed by the Bible. No one could repay those loans. So Rothschilds keep collecting interest payments until the day we default, when they make slaves of American citizens. I hope Rothschilds make slaves of no one as punishment. I hope they are returned. I hope the Rothschilds are returned to animal bodies in animal kingdom, far from human beings. I hope Ulysses S. Grant feels what he's done and is doing consciously, and his ego shrinks to its proper place. A farmer, not an insulter, comedian, who'd better figure out how to give his wife an orgasm to make it worth her while being the wife of a traitor awaiting trial for treason. Okay, so that's the end of that. So, think about what I said, and I hope you make your wife happy, or I hope if you're the wife, you ask the husband to give you an orgasm. You certainly have a right to it. And as far as Owen Benjamin's concerned, just when you listen to him destroy the great souls, just realize he's just trying to make everybody as bad as he was, but they are not. They have their flaws. Everybody's got their flaws, but let's not dwell on flaws. But Owen Benjamin is doing damage. That's why I'm bringing up his flaws. Okay, so this is Sing Birdsong, who was Jimi Hendrix, and St. Philip, who was Jesus Christ's disciple, St. Andrew Jonathan, who was Jesus Christ's disciple. Okay, that's all for now. I'll make another video in about an hour. So long.